We are in. Sacramento, California, home for the Kings in an interconference basketball game here. 2K Sports is proud to present NBA basketball. With Greg Anthony, Clark Kellogg, and our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, this is Kevin Harlan. You look at the Hawks. A look at Atlanta's opening lineup. Paul Millsap out there with Hayward. Then there's Kyle Korver. Then there's Dennis Schroeder. And it's Lopez in at the 5 down low. And that one's good. Millsap.
And guys, you hear about how the Hawks are jokingly referred to as the Spurs of the East. It has to do with their coach, Mike Budenholzer, who's really brought that philosophy here to Atlanta.
There's Schroeder. Lopez outside. Inside. Puts up the baby hook. Tried to bank it in, but he misses. Here's Gay. Outside Gasol. Bledsoe outside. Outside Gasol. There's the 3. And it's Bledsoe. That time on the assist by Cousins. 6 points for Eric Bledsoe.
There's a chance he could have a big game if they don't D him up more tightly on the perimeter.
Rejected by Millsap. And he gets it back. Here's Gasol. And the first shot of the night for him, no good. Atlanta's gone 1 of 2 from long range in the first quarter. Second chance shot. No good off the back of the rim.
And this quarter, he has clearly been off the mark.
Gordon Hayward comes up with the rebound. And here's the fast break. Millsap leading the way. Korver, no luck. Sacramento's gone 2 of 2 from three-point range here in the first quarter. Rondo passes to Cousins. And he goes in for the dunk.
Good, just like soup. A little more ferocious, though.
Okay, Clark approves, everybody.
Yeah, but that's how you finish strong. Young fella's wearing the rim out. Really, the right play defensively. If you can't block, force them to the line.
Yeah, exactly. Prevent the layup, give them a little bump, and then maybe they'll think twice about coming into the lane next time. And if they don't think about it, at least they might be distracted by your presence.
Schroeder kicks to Millsap. And the powerful one-handed slam.
Flying high and throwing down the hard one-hander.
One of his favorite moves right there, guys.
And really, he does that one as well as anyone. Kev, you're right. That's like his signature move once he goes airborne.
Looking at the last game for the Atlanta Hawks, it was a loss to the Cavaliers in Cleveland. And no question, G.A., Rudy Gay is one of those guys who has always put up great numbers, but in 9 seasons he's been in the league, only one playoff. Only one. Count him, one. Back in 2012.
Yeah, but what if he were still in Memphis, though, Kevin? I mean, that's one of it. Sometimes it's not always your fault that you're not getting there.
True.
You got to play on a good enough team, and he hasn't up to this point. So, yeah, he's had his moments of inconsistency and will disappear at times. So there's some shared blame there as to why he hasn't been more consistent when it comes to the postseason.
Clock is at 3. Here's Cousins. And he uses the glass on the layup. Cousins has got his second bucket tonight.
And, you know, back to Rudy Gay, he's a tremendous all-around talent. Physically, instinctively, skill-wise, he's got it all. Except that consistent winning touch, that remains to be complete.
And now the first timeout called here for the Hawks.
And thinking more about Rudy Gay, one key number I look at from last season, his assists. By far the most in his career, and that didn't translate into a ton of wins, but it very well could have been the next step toward getting those wins.
And it's Schroeder missing.
That is some tough defense there against one of the better finishers in our game. And a huge lead here early to start.
Boy, you know, right from the tip, there's not anything they haven't done well so far.
Now here's Hayward. Here's Korver. That one's in. His first bucket of the game. He's 1 for 2.
That's a heads-up play there on offense. The pump fake cleared the way for the nice layup.
Bledsoe outside. Deflects the pass. Lopez with the steal. And Hayward with the stuff.
And guys got careless with the ball there, and the turnover leads to the big stuff.
Once he came up right with the steal, he went straight on the attack.
That's exactly the way to do it too, Kevin. Go hard to the bucket and don't let them set up the defense.
Kicks it to Korver. Lots of room. And he knocks down the jumper.
Probably wasn't the shot they were looking for, but they'll take the bucket.
And it's Bledsoe off the drive. And then Gay with the dunk.
Taking it to the rack with power right there.
And hammering down with the two-handed slam.
Just piling on the lead with the dunk like that. And he can time his passes so perfectly. Wow, what an assist.
Bledsoe outside. They grab their own miss. Gay dishes to Cousins. To the inside. Rondo passes to Gasol. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. That's on Brook Lopez.
And Marc Gasol surprisingly nimble for a 7-footer. He really moves his feet well at both ends of the floor.
And the Hawks with a completely new group on the floor. And when you look at Marc Gasol now versus when he came into the league, remarkable how that body of his, Clark, has transformed.
Kevin, he changed his diet and he dropped a bunch of weight. Believe it or not, he even grows vegetables at his house. He's really gone all in on the transformation of his body.
Clark, good information.
Yes, sir.
How'd
That's
you know
what we
all
do.
that stuff?
That's what we do here.
Woo.
Info and entertainment.
And Mike Scott, a former second-round draft pick who has carved out a role here in the NBA the last 2 seasons, Clark. He was a major contributor off the bench.
Yeah, he's a bit of a tweener, you know, not big enough to maintain position down low on a consistent basis and not quick enough to really be a 3-man or small forward. But what he can do is get to the basket, rebound okay, and knock down the deep shot.
So the Kings call timeout, their first.
And getting back to Mike Scott, his three-point percentage and attempts have increased each year he's been in the league. With a high, quick release, he's capable of making tough shots with a hand in his face in a way other players simply can't.
And it's a completely new group on the floor for the Kings. A nice shot by Koufos.
They've done well at taking advantage of some late defensive rotations and getting the ball into the paint.
Clearly, they...
And this sort of awesome dunk is one of the reasons this team is in charge of this game right now.
Clark, there is a swagger out here on the court that they possess and are not afraid to show it either.
That's right.
I tell you what, I used to love to go up and jam like that. Yeah, that's a super defensive play. If that gets through, no doubt they score.
And that's why he sold out for it, because he knew he had to make that play. He wasn't going to let them get the advantage.
And Caspi kicks to Koufos. Takes the turnaround J. And it's sent back by Horford. And the ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by Horford. And 1:01 left in the first quarter of the game. Now here's McLemore outside. Kufis. And he takes that one up and powers it through.
And putting in the work on the boards, and it's paying off with chances like that.
And GA, he does put in the work. You're right. It's why he's on the finishing end of one putback slam after another.
Well, his effort has never been a question mark. He is an incredibly self-motivated player. That's a major mental mistake. I mean, there's no other way for me to describe it. He didn't know where he was on the court. That's a basic fundamental. You have to be alert to where you are.
That's good. And now just a 3-point Kings lead. The dish to McLemore. Some nice ball movement here by the Kings. Pass to Kufis. Knocks it loose. And it'll be Sacramento as it goes out of bounds. The Kings retain possession. Goes up off the inbound. A strong finish under heavy pressure all over. Kufis has got 6 points.
I think they need to get much more disruptive defensively. They can't just keep allowing these easy baskets.
That's got to be job number one right now. Nothing easy on the inside.
Caspi for 3. He goes up again. The scoring fast and furious as we end the first quarter. Kings ahead, leading by 7. And we'll be back with you right after this. Now the second quarter getting ready to start up. And a look at how the hustle game has been going for the Kings.
Boy, they've really amped up the pressure at the defensive end, guys, and have piled up the steals in the early going.
And the other thing that's been equally as effective is the fact that they've gotten out on the fast break. A lot of points coming in transition.
And a chance here presented by Gatorade to see who's on the floor. All fueled up and ready to go for the start of the second quarter. On the floor for Sacramento. Bellinelli is out there with Caspi. Then there's Kufis. Then it's McLemore. And it's Williams at the 1. Passes to Kufis. Three-pointer. And there's Williams. That's good on the assist by Kufis. And the Kings lead by 6.
That's the kind of D that you're not going to find success with, guys. They've got to get a hand in the face.
And we're about a minute into the second quarter of play. Left side, Korver. Now here's Hayward. Bellinelli is covering. 6 to shoot. And with that shot, the Kings lead is cut down to just 4 points with a bucket from Paul Millsap.
Offensively, he can be the engine that drives them at any given time.
And he isn't the biggest body at 6'8", Clark, but Paul Millsap, very effective.
And part of his being underrated and underestimated, I think, is due to that size. But folks are finally starting to come around. That kind of production he's put up will make that happen. How about that fantastic finish and the aggressive move, too, Kevin?
Trying to send a message, Clark, with that slam, I think.
And I'm not sure if it was text or email, but he definitely threw that one down.
An easy 2 points on the layup.
And Millsap with over a 7-foot wingspan and also just a great nose for the ball. He gets you rebounds, blocks, and he leads all power forwards in steals pretty much every season.
Here's Lopez, and he makes it look easy, dunking it hard with one hand.
And what a gutty play. I mean, muscles his way to the rebound and then just pounds it home for the putback.
Well said, GA. The battle on the boards, Clark, could go a long way toward deciding this game.
You know, and if that play is any indication, that's a battle they're willing to put every ounce of their energy into winning.
Timeout called by the Kings.
And speaking of Millsap's defense, I mean, he can switch out and cover perimeter players as well. His smaller stature gives him that versatility, but then the long wingspan allows him to still bang with the biggies.
And Cousins kicks to Bledsoe. Gay with no one around. And they will call over the back on the play.
And that's an aggressive play to try to get the rebound. Just a little too aggressive.
And unnecessary. That's over the top. That's doing too much, Greg. He wasn't in good position there, and he was never going to get...
That jam! I mean, just beautiful.
Man, he got fancy with that one, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe trying to give them the momentum boost they need to break this game open.
I tell you what, I like that, though, guys. Some coaches might not want you to make a play like that, but I tell you what, when you got the skills like that, I say go for it.
Korver dishes to Millsap. The leaner inside. And the Hawks getting another basket right there.
You know, he's putting on an outstanding offensive display, and he may just be getting warmed up here. Solid on the one-hand throw down there.
You know, Clark, when it's a tight ball game like this, he's the guy they want with the ball.
Yep.
Yeah, and one reason why, I just don't know that I've ever seen him miss a play like that.
And the ball travels out of bounds. It was last touched by Rondo. Now here's Schroeder. He's been patient so far. Nothing yet on the scoreboard.
They're getting on a roll inside. Their last 3 field goals have come from inside the paint area.
There's got to be a wall of defense when it comes to attacking the paint. Plain and simple.
And Cousins kicks to Bledsoe. Back to Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins can really be unstoppable at times on offense. He's shown star qualities ever since he stepped into the NBA. But it wasn't until last season that he was voted to the All-Star game.
He hits the second from the line.
You know, when you look at DeMarcus Cousins, he's clearly one of the more talented and also one of the most emotional players in the game. He's also one of the most teed up.
Count that one, and the Kings' lead has been cut down to 1 on the bucket from Paul Millsap.
Boy, they are passing the ball very crisply right now.
They really are, and their last 3 buckets have come by way of an assist.
Nice pass. He got the ball right into his teammate's shooting pocket. On time and on target.
Yeah, talking about Cousins' top 5 in technical fouls in each of his first 5 seasons. Among other things, that's given away a ton of free points, guys, to the opposition.
Yeah, DeMarcus is working hard to control that temper, and he knows it's important for the team. But it's hard to plug a volcano.
And in an era where so many guys take the money and run, Gordon Hayward did the best he could to live up to his new contract. Clark, last year, a 4-year max deal signed heading into last season.
Yeah, and the way max contracts work nowadays, even the upper mid-tier guys are getting them. A trend that will probably continue, at least in the near future. I don't like it, though. There are only a small number of guys that are really max contract players in the NBA.
And a look at how the hustle game has been going for Atlanta.
They've come out in attack mode on the defensive end. They've applied pressure and forcing turnovers.
The other thing they've had going for them tonight is working hard on the offensive glass. They've had a number of putbacks.
Korver, good.
And when you get back to Hayward, last year his points per game were way up. But really impressive, his shooting percentages. Were way up. That's a big step forward, I believe, in his development.
You know, on the topic of whether Hayward is a true max prospect, he did some things last year to at least argue that he is. He was stronger, a lot more aggressive going to the rim. His defense improved, too. He'll need another year of development like that to silence the doubters. Rising high to throw that one down.
Sky high. Fantastic one-hand jam.
Nice way there, guys, to finish up that possession.
Here we go, one-on-one. Rondo passes to Gay. And it's good, coming on the assist by Rajon Rondo. And it's 7 points for Rudy Gay.
A beautiful pass by Rondo. That's excellent teamwork.
And that is good. That's now 8 points for Brook Lopez.
And the lead should be safe if they can keep shooting the basketball like this.
Yeah, they're cracking. Absolutely cracking and looking to pad that lead.
From deep, Gay. And he gets it to go. Gay's got it all tied up now for Sacramento.
I like the offensive awareness to exploit that lack of coverage on that play.
And Brook Lopez, guys, started the season as the starting center for the Nets last year, but it didn't end up that way.
Lopez ended up coming off the bench for the Nets for a stretch last season. There was a lot of debate, Clark, if that was the right role for him.
Kevin, clearly there were differing opinions because as soon as it happened, every GM called Brooklyn up to see if Lopez was available.
Now a timeout called by Sacramento. Watching Brook Lopez, he all the time contributes in every category. It's amazing the number of ways he affects the game.
Deadly with the shot, tremendous touch, back to the basket moves, facing up, makes free throws, good offensive rebounder, capable passer. He just makes things happen.
A platoon swap here for Sacramento. And a switch here also for Atlanta. Al Horford is checked in for Brook Lopez. Williams against Teague. Williams kicks to Kufis. Soft touch off the glass. Kufis has got 12 points in the game.
And talking about Lopez, he does clean the glass on the offensive end. He was 12th in offensive rebounds last year. However, he was 44th in defensive rebounds. That's one important area he definitely has to work on.
You know, getting back to Lopez, how good is it to have a guy with his offensive package also be a near top 10 shot blocker for you? That's what he was last season and several seasons before that. He's an all-star talent if he can just stay on the court and stay healthy.
5 to shoot. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line.
And Kosta Kufis, an excellent rotation center. I mean, he gets after it on the inside. He'll give you some rebounds, can block some shots. He's made himself into a factor.
And he's good on the second. And Kufis not really a shooter, Clark. He does his damage around the rim.
Yeah, he really does. The former Buckeye is a great screen setter. He attacks the offensive glass, plays within himself, and knows his role, and he does it well. You know, there are a lot of bigger power forwards than him in the NBA, but very few that rise up like he can.
Teague against Williams. He feeds it to Kufis. Teague on the double team. Kufis dishes to Williams. Trying to find Kufis. Gets it to him. It's good again, and an excellent 7 for 8 shooting night so far.
Boy, they keep hammering away at him inside, forcing that ball into the paint. Smash mouth basketball.
And Clark, it's a strategy that has served them well during the course of this first half.
Here's Bazemore. Here's Hardaway. Dishes it to Bazemore. The drive by Scott. Cooper's with the block. And so it looks like the Hawks will retain possession here. And the first half comes to a close. We've got a close game going on here. Hawks lead by 2. Time now for the halftime break, with the third quarter soon to follow, right here on 2K Sports. Welcome back, everybody. The start of the second half getting underway. Both teams battling hard through the first half.
What a performance from Millsap here. 16 points and a block. The motor on this guy is amazing. Completely revved up. He's been everywhere today.
And it's hard to say which has influenced the game more, really, his offense or his D. I mean, take your pick.
Here we go now, the start of the third quarter, welcoming you back in a closely contested first half so far. You know, Paul Millsap has been exceptional here, guys.
Yeah, pretty much all throughout that first half, and he was taking care of his business on the low blocks and getting more than his fair share of dunks.
Guys, he's been in beast mode down low, asserting his will. The defense has been helpless, unable to slow him down.
On the court for Atlanta, we've got Paul Millsap. Kyle Korver is out there with Dennis Schroeder. Then it's Brook Lopez. And it's Hayward in at the 3 spot.
And guys, right now, the defense mentally not there. Can't afford too many of those in a close game like this.
Yeah, Jay, you're right. Almost a free run, don't you think? Clark to the hoop for him there.
Momentum can swing on plays like that, Kevin, especially when the finish has that much thunder on it.
And he says, right back at you with a big dunk of his own.
Rising high to throw that one down.
Sky high. Fantastic one-hand jam.
Nice way there, guys, to finish up that possession.
And so the ball goes out of bounds. Lopez touched it last. About 1 minute played here in the second half. Feeds to Bellinelli. Parked down low that time, and he got the 3-second call.
Oh, no, you hate to see that. Those are just the kind of errors that can cost you in a game like this.
Atlanta's gone 3 of 4 from long range in the game. And he gets it to go as they call the foul. He's on his way to the line for one more.
Hard to get that one off with the size difference there. That makes it a tough individual matchup for him, especially down low.
Well, took on the big guys going in there and challenging them like he did. But, boy, that was a nice job.
Pass to Caspi. Just 4 to shoot. The 10-footer. That one's in there. The Hawks lead is cut down to 1 on the bucket from Williams. To the paint. And Lopez throws it down.
Went for the two-hander on that slam. That's where the weight room comes into play, Kevin.
I think some urgency from him there.
I think he's sensing that this is a critical time in the game, fellas.
McLemore, no good.
Rare you'll see him miss such an open look.
Here's Schroeder. Misses the 3. For Darren Williams, the injury-riddled campaigns just keep piling up.
Yeah, it's almost difficult to watch considering how good he was when he was healthy. I mean, you're talking about one of the most explosive players in the game over the last decade at the point guard spot. But the injuries, hard to overcome.
Timeout called by the Kings. In addition to going over the game plan and making whatever necessary adjustments have to be made, Greg, this timeout also the time for players to get rehydrated or hydrate for the first time with some Gatorade. Plenty of basketball still to be played here, and they have to get recharged.
That's a great point. Without proper hydration, a player can completely run out of gas down the stretch of a game. And that's something that none of these guys can afford to have happen. If you're going to battle all the way to the finish, you have got to be hydrated. And guys, for Darren Williams last season, all those injuries finally affected his shooting. 39% from the field last year, the second lowest mark of his career. And he just couldn't create space or elevate to get the clean looks he had grown accustomed to.
Gasol goes in. The feed now to Cousins. Screen by Cousins. No good from Gasol.
And, you know, talking about Darren Williams, last year wasn't all bad. I mean, nearly 7 assists a game, 3.5 rebounds, a steal. Not the stocking stuffer he used to be, but he still battled and still contributed. Clever, crafty defense. He saw that pass coming before it was even made.
Pass break here. Here come the Hawks. And Hayward with the stuff.
That's a quick bucket there. Solid in transition.
Well, you know, he loves the chance to get out and run, and we could see right there why he does.
A three from Gay. Good, and the assist goes to Gasol. 13 points for Rudy Gay.
Boy, I tell you what, he loves getting looks like that from the three-point lines. No one near him. That's a warm-up jumper for him.
After a rookie season in which he really struggled, Dennis Schroeder made big strides last year.
Yeah, I think pretty much dramatic improvements across the board, Kevin. Really a most improved candidate for sure. He solidified that reserve unit for the Hawks, in my opinion.
Atlanta making a switch here. Al Horford, he's checked in for Lopez. Mike Scott comes in for Paul Millsap. Kent Bazemore's checked in for Gordon Hayward. And Hardaway is subbed in for Kyle Korver.
Of all the guys you want to leave open out on the perimeter, he is the absolute last guy on the list. Attention to detail. Know your personnel.
And that's the classic 1-2 punch right there. I mean, nice steal. And then how about the elevation, Kevin, on the finish?
And, Greg, nothing spurs some quick offense like a great play defensively.
That indicates the importance of great on-the-ball defense, as was displayed right there.
Gasol kicks to Cousins. Back to Gasol. He dishes it to Cousins. Makes it off the glass. Cousins has got 9.
And Schroeder still with room to grow. I mean, he needs to improve his three-point shot and cut down his turnovers. But those are things that often come with time. And he's got time, still very young at this stage of his career.
Teague is checked in for Dennis Schroeder. Atlanta leading by 8. And that one's good.
Sound offensively, really no other way to put it here in the second half.
There's really no comparison between the teams in terms of the way they both shot the ball since the break. Cutting into that lead a little bit. Way to finish.
And the basket is still shaking.
Oh, I mean, he has got power in bunches on that two-hand.
The pass to Gay. He kicks it to Cousins. Back to Gay. Kings moving the ball around. The dish to Cousins. Gay outside. Bazemore passes to Scott. Down low. Bazemore gets the bucket. Bazemore's got the lead up to 10 now for the Hawks.
And for Schroeder, not a great outside shooter yet, but he's an attack guard. I mean, blinding speed, very slippery, eel-like. He gets into that lane and can make a defense collapse in a heartbeat. That alone is where his value is right now.
And let's take a moment here to get your guys' take on scoring so far for the Hawks.
They keep piling up the assists, and they haven't cooled off at all.
They've also been pounding it inside tonight and coming away with a lot of points in the paint. I call those PIPs.
Rondo dishes to Bledsoe. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
That's his first personal foul.
One thing about Eric Bledsoe, he made it clear he wanted to be paid like an upper-tier player. And that led to quite a negotiation between he and the Suns last year. Ultimately, the two sides agreed to a 5-year, $70 million deal.
Talking about Eric Bledsoe's contract, many insiders felt like it was too much for a sporadic talent. We knew that he was the good backup in Los Angeles with the Clippers and going to Phoenix in a more prominent role. You know, but he went on to have a dynamic season, proving that, you know, Greg, and you know this position so well, he has the ability to be one of the best league's combo guards, I think.
I agree. I mean, consistency will tell the tale when it comes to Bledsoe. I mean, the rebounds and assists, the averages were up last year, but his shooting percentages were down. So is Bledsoe a near max level player? Only time will tell.
But they get it back. Gay kicks to Rondo. There's Gay. And it's good, coming on the assist by Rajon Rondo. Rondo's got 5 assists in the game.
And you know, Rondo, a strange year shooting the ball last season. For a good stretch, he was shooting the same from the free throw line as he was from three-point range, about 30%.
So for the Hawks leading by 8. Here's Lopez. Rejected by Gasol. And now the Kings fast break. Bledsoe's got the ball. Gasol passes to Rondo. Gay drives in. High post Cousins. Millsap on him. 5 on the clock. No good from Gay. Greg, you were talking about Rondo, and his shooting woes have been well documented. Clark, he tried to tap into Dirk's old shooting coach to help him out while in Dallas.
You know, a good portion of this might be mental at this point for Rondo. He is getting to the point in his career where I think it is what it is for him in regards to his shooting.
And the Hawks making a change here. Schroeder's checked in. Here's Korver. It's good. Now he's shooting 6 for 7.
That's leadership. Really, really valuable to have someone who can just take charge like he has.
Well, there's a certain amount of confidence you have when the ball is in his hands at that end of the floor right now. I mean, he just gives you a sense of calm and confidence because of how good he is.
And then Cousins with the dunk.
Forget about finesse and agility. This big fella is all about power and force.
And typically he has the touch to finish when he's in tight, but not sure on that possession.
Kicks it to Rondo. Good. And it's Cousins picking up the assist. 9 points for Rajon Rondo.
And that assist got him a little nod from his teammate after that one.
Cousins dishes to Gay. And it's off from three-point range. To the middle. Here's Hayward. And a beautiful feed leads to a monster jam.
And nobody, guys, among the defenders stepping up to challenge him on that drive to the 10.
And Greg, he says, thank you very much, and sails in for the flush.
And those are the kinds of
shots continuing to fall as we conclude the third quarter. Both teams putting up points. It's Atlanta up 9. And we're just moments away from the start of the fourth quarter. Stay with us. And the final period of play just about to start. Bledsoe is out there with Rajon Rondo. Then there's DeMarcus Cousins. Then there's Rudy Gay. And it's Gasol at the pivot spot, manning the middle. That's the 5 out there for the Kings.
Well, he actually did a nice job there reading how that shot was going to come off the rim perfectly. I mean, that can make up for any height disadvantage.
Bazemore. And it's rebounded by DeMarcus Cousins. Cousins has got 6 rebounds here tonight.
The D with very little pressure on their perimeter shooters. 3 of the last 5 baskets they've allowed have been of the three-point variety.
And you need the defense to stop the bleeding.
Whistle blows. Yep, that's going to be a travel.
Sacramento calls time.
Now a timeout called by Sacramento. Last year, a good one for Jeff Teague, Clark. He was a first-time All-Star in this league.
He's a pick-and-roll technician, so good in reading the defense as he operates from that spot on the floor. He was really the catalyst for what was a really efficient offense for the Hawks.
The Kings trail by 6. Williams kicks to Bellinelli. And it comes off the rim with a high bounce.
That's not a sight you see very often. I mean, he has a great feel for that jump shot, especially when he's open.
And Kosta Koufos picks up the foul. And that'll be his 3rd foul so far. Fourth quarter still young, just over a minute play. And Teague, here we go. The layup off target. For Sacramento, they've gone 1 of 3 from the field to start the fourth quarter. Williams kicks to Koufos. Back to Williams. That drops.
You know, it's really going to be all about hard work from this point on. And they worked hard to create that high-quality shot right there.
No question. That's their goal down the stretch here. I think finding those close-range rhythm shots.
Atlanta calls timeout. Doris Burke has an update for us. Doris?
I was able to listen in on what Mike Budenholzer had to say to his team. He was absolutely adamant, saying, don't let them off the hook. Let's keep our foot on the pedal and keep doing the things that have gotten us here this far. We're almost home.
And stolen by Horford. Hardaway, that's a two-pointer. And right through it goes. And the Hawks lead by 6.
And this has been purely a display of offense that we're seeing here today.
And, you know, it's only getting better as both of these teams' defenses are starting to show signs of wearing down.
The kick out to T. Pass to Bazemore. No good with the triple.
You know what, though? Sometimes you can be too open. I think it may have surprised him, and that's why he missed.
He's off on the first.
And Kent Bazemore, the long-armed lefty out of Old Dominion, where he was the Division I Defensive Player of the Year back in 2011. A 5-year senior. He graduated with 2 degrees, one in criminal justice, the other in human services.
The Hawks making a switch here. Brook Lopez is checked in for Horford. Millsap comes in for Scott. Kyle Korver, he's checked in for Hardaway. And Dennis Schroeder subbed in for Jeff T. Bellinelli passes to McLemore. He feeds it to Kufis. Bellinelli dishes to Williams. Kufis kicks to Bellinelli. Passes it to Caspi. Good ball movement here by the Kings. Kufis. 1 on the clock. He lays it in. Kufis has got 21.
They're consistently finding ways to get the ball inside and taking full advantage.
Pretty clear. It's smash mouth basketball. Pound that thing inside.
And Bazemore grew up in a small town, Telford, North Carolina. Clark, less than 300 people.
And a very tight-knit community, as you might expect, Kevin. His uncle owned the local diner, and you see that in his demeanor. Very social, a humble guy. He's really a nice presence in the locker room.
Schroeder passes to Millsap. Shot from 12. Another miss by Millsap.
You know, they don't score on that shot, but they're going to be happy with those kinds of possessions.
Caspi with the bucket.
You know, there's no better sign of how efficiently a team is operating than their assist numbers. And theirs are fantastic.
Just beautiful when they play the game like this.
Bazemore gets the bucket.
The Kings with the timeout.
Now a timeout called by Sacramento. Well, you have to love the energy and the effort given every night by Kent Bazemore, hustling for loose balls. Greg, a lot like you actually. Runs the floor like a tornado, can handle the ball, the consummate role player.
He really is. And you know, you have to have guys who can be effective without the basketball, Kevin. There's only one out there.
Right.
You're going to have 5 guys, so you need other areas of the game to be effective. And he focuses on the defense, the rebounding, all those little things that add up to victories.
Gordon Hayward's checked in for Atlanta. And a wide open look for Rondo. And they're unable to get the tying basket there. The shot by Hayward, wide open. Offline with his 3.
And, you know, going back to Kent Bazemore, he was not a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Was solid and unspectacular in college. Entered the NBA as an undrafted free agent. Exceeded everybody's expectation. How about that fantastic finish and the aggressive move, too, Kevin?
Trying to send a message, Clark, with that slam, I think.
And I'm not sure if it was text or email, but he definitely threw that one down.
Korver gets a wide open look. Hayward kicks to Korver. Here's Millsap. And so he earns a trip to the line. Official saw the contact, and he'll shoot 2. The first free throw is good.
And getting back to Kent Bazemore, I mean, he will always have a role in this league because of his defense and his positive attitude. He's the kind of guy who gets counted out early, then goes on to have a legitimate 10-year NBA career.
Rondo kicks to Bledsoe. Goes up high for the two-handed dunk.
And, Kevin, who says a point guard should look to pass first? I mean, not when you can finish like this fella.
Well, Clark, he wasn't going to give that opportunity up to a teammate.
Well, you know, Kevin, that's one he'll always take himself, and he should. I mean, you can't pass up that kind of opportunity or fun.
Rondo dishes to Bledsoe. Back to Rondo. Millsap with the steal. Hayward kicks to Korver. Feeds it to Schroeder. Outside for Korver. Dishes to Lopez. Hayward outside. Clock at 4. Gasol with the steal. Here's Gay. Throws down the breakaway jam.
Oh, man, what a turnaround. Sensational play on D, and then the rapid-fire run to the basket.
Craig, they didn't wait around, did they? They went right for the throat.
Guys, this is crunch time now. When you got a chance to capitalize on the turnover, you've got to take it and make it.
Rondo kicks to Cousins. To the inside. Gay passes to Cousins. Out of bounds, Atlanta takes possession.
Oh, that certainly could be costly. In a close one, those kinds of mistakes can really give the other team momentum.
Schroeder kicks to Millsap. Here's Hayward. Outside for Korver. Back to Hayward. Wide open look. And dead on that time. Beautiful shot. And now a 5-point Hawks lead. Rondo gets to Gasol. Lopez with the steal. Schroeder with the ball. Eric Bledsoe covering. Nice ball movement here by Atlanta. That's good. And that's now 20 points for Brook Lopez.
No doubt about the consistency when it comes to scoring the basketball for him tonight. A real nice lift for their offense.
Gasol a screen. And the foul on Eric Bledsoe. That's his 4th foul of the contest.
And that's his 4th, and no doubt he would have liked to have not gotten it this soon.
Schroeder passes to Millsap. And that one's good.
Terrific run to seal the deal.
Yeah, and now let's just keep an eye on how much longer they keep the foot on the accelerator.
And the wide open shot from Bledsoe. And once again off the mark by Sacramento. For Atlanta, they come in off the loss to Cleveland. And the rejection by Cousins. It's deflected. Here's Korver. Korver missing again.
Not a quarter to remember as far as his offense is concerned.
Yeah, you know, he's not making any kind of impact for them at that end of the court right now.
Cousins dishes to Gay. Rondo kicks to Gasol. Will it go? No good at the rim. And so the Hawks take the win. A solid win on the road for them. This building was dead silent by the time, GA, this one wound down.
And that's what you want to do. Take the crowd out of it by crunch time. Don't give them any chance to lift their team up at the finish.
And that about wraps it up. This is Kevin Harlan thanking you for watching. Now it's time to head back to the studio with Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kenny Smith.